Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm going to be talking about Carrier Assault in the new Battlefield 4 Naval Strike expansion. This game mode features a mixture of conquest and rush gameplay where one carrier serves as a home base for each team. When the round first begins, you can only spawn on your home carrier. You have a variety of vehicles to pick from depending on which map you're playing, and this will allow you to get out into the map quickly and capture control points. Each control point works very much like a conquest control point where you can spawn on it, but it also has a rocket launcher system which will fire frequently, shooting a rocket into the enemy team's carrier. Each carrier has a health status shown over your minimap in the bottom left corner. Once this health status reaches 0, it will actually reset and the MCOMs below the carriers will light up. This means that the carrier's basic defenses are down and you can now board the enemy team's carrier and try and activate the two MCOMs to fully destroy it. Now there's several ways to get aboard the enemy carrier. The most common is to just drive a boat up to the side main access port. There's a few other access ports, and you can also land a helicopter on the surface and work your way down some of the stairs. And if you're ballsy enough, you can even fly a helicopter inside the main hangar, although your maneuverability is going to be very limited. If you destroy both of your enemy's MCOMs, then you will instantaneously win the round. Unfortunately, there is no escape sequence. There is a end screen sequence of the enemy carrier exploding, but you do not have the option to try and do some sort of daring escape. If the enemy team's defenses are too strong inside of the carrier and you are not able to actually destroy their MCOMs, you can still win the game by holding most of the conquest points and essentially beating their carrier to death with some of these surface-to-surface missiles. Once the carrier reaches 0 health for the second time, you will win the game. Obviously, the whole time you're playing, the enemy has the exact same opportunities as you do. There is no offensive or defensive side in this game mode. Knowing when to attack and when to defend in Carrier Assault really is going to be key to winning the game. Now let's talk about the way the game mode plays out, especially compared to the original game mode called Titan in 2142. One of the main differences is that it doesn't appear that you can actually move the aircraft carriers around. In Titan mode from 2142, the commander had control of where the Titans would go, and that could actually be a really big effect on how the strategy of the map was going to play out. You could even move your Titan into a position where they would defend some of the conquest points really well, and this added a whole new depth to the strategy. The downside to this was that often you would get a commander that you didn't really like and they could fly the Titan into a horrible location and essentially lose you the game. At the same note, you did have the option of voting your commanders out of the seat if they were doing something you didn't like. So that option is no longer here in Battlefield 4. One of the other big discrepancies is the fact that in 2142, after you destroyed your enemy Titan's core, you had a certain period of time to escape that Titan as it was exploding all around you. This offered a really cinematic and intense gameplay experience. Even though you had already won the round, you still had to try and escape, and there's often some really good action to be had after the final core had been destroyed. In Carrier Assault, as soon as that BMCOM detonates, you switch to the score screen, which is a picture of the carrier exploding. You have no idea if you made it off the carrier, if you're going down with the ship. The story isn't really portrayed too well. Something that bothered me particularly was once I finally got into the carrier and I was all pumped to take out these objectives and take down the ship from the inside, we're arming MCOMs, these little fucking data bricks that we're supposed to hack and steal information from. You're telling me that hacking this one little computer here blows up a giant aircraft carrier? They couldn't have given us some fuel tanks that we had to detonate, maybe a munitions store, go into the engine room and actually set charges on the engines? No, when you go into the engine room, you go and you activate a freaking MCOM again. Would it have killed DICE to add in that extra little bit just to make it believable, make it feel like you're actually destroying an aircraft carrier rather than just playing Rush inside of an aircraft carrier? And speaking of inside the aircraft carrier, I am a little bit worried about how it's going to play out. I would love to give you guys a really good in-depth analysis of how the game mode played out, but there weren't too many people at the event, and I feel like Carrier Assault is going to be best played with 32 players or even more players. If you think about it, you've got a conquest game going on, and then you have to both attack and and defend another aircraft carrier. So I feel like 64 players probably is going to be the ideal way to play this game mode, but at the same time, inside of the aircraft carriers, cover is somewhat limited, and I feel that it's going to turn into something that's potentially even worse than Operation Metro, with all the explosives and grenade launchers and everything flying in every single direction. Granted, 2142 certainly had a bit of that going on inside of the Titan, but there were still enough flanking routes and stuff to make the gameplay interesting. Now, despite my concerns and the lack of features compared to the 2142 game mode, I am still really excited to play Carrier Assault, especially with 64 players. I think it has a lot of potential, and the fact that it has a good amount of variety in how you want to play. If you really like defending on rush game modes, well, you can certainly do that in this game mode. If you really like attacking in rush game modes, you can also do that in this game mode. If you just want to play a bit of conquest, you don't even have to board a carrier at any point during this game. You can just play the objectives throughout the map. There's tons of vehicular gameplay, not so much with heavy armor, but certainly with air and naval stuff going on. The center of the maps really favor infantry combat. There's certainly going to be something for everyone in this game mode, so I think it's actually going to be quite popular overall. But at the same time, having played 2142, I know exactly what this game mode is capable of, and I don't think Battlefield 4 is going to quite live up to the original game mode, let alone surpass it. I mean, certainly the graphics have improved drastically from Battlefield 2142, and there's no question about that, and the naval combat is a very, very cool element to it. But again, we had more features in 2142 and some more interesting strategy options as well. I think overall though, the main improvements that we're going to see to this game mode are just the incredibly lush looking maps and what appears to be some really well balanced maps. Again, I haven't played them enough to really say that they're amazingly balanced, but just from my limited playthrough, I can say that I think the map design is going to lend itself really well to the game mode overall. And when it comes down to it, I'm actually quite excited to see what a fully loaded server of Carrier Assault comes down to. I think it's going to actually offer some really intense and fun gameplay. Let me know what you guys think in the video description. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. We'll all know soon enough firsthand on what a fully loaded Carrier Assault server is going to be like, as the expansion is coming out extremely soon, either the 24th or the 25th. There's been some dates thrown around here or there, but I think we might actually get this game mode as soon as the 24th if you have premium. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.